close my eyes and the flashback starts. I'm standing there on a balcony in summer air. See the lights, see the party, the ball gowns. See you make your way through the crowd and say hello. Little did I know that you were Romeo, you were throwing pebbles, and my daddy said stay away from Juliet. And I was crying on the staircase, begging you please don't go. And I said, Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone. I'll be waiting, all there's left to do is run. You'll be the prince and I'll be the princess. It's a love story, baby, just say yes. So I sneak out to the garden to see you. We keep quiet 'cause we're dead if we knew. So close your eyes, escape this town for a little while. Oh, 'cause you were Romeo, I was a scarlet letter, and the daddy said stay away from Juliet. But you were everything to me, I was begging you please don't go. And I said, Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone. I'll be waiting, all there's left to do is run. You'll be the prince and I'll be the princess. It's a love story, baby, just say yes. Romeo, save me, they're trying to tell me how to feel. This love is difficult, but if you real, don't be afraid, we'll make it out of this mess. It's a love story, baby, just say I got tired of waiting, wondering if you were ever coming around. My faith in you was fading when I met you on the outskirts of town. And I said, Romeo, save me, I've been feeling so alone. I keep waiting for you, but you never come. Is this in my head? I don't know what to think. He knelt to the ground and pulled out a ring and said, marry me, Juliet, you never have to be alone. I love you and that's all I really know. I talked to your dad, go pick out a white dress. It's a love story, baby, just say yes. Cause we were both young when I first saw you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Educainment, inspiring you through fun learning and entertainment. I'm Leah,
And I'm Anna.
and we are here for our second segment. Our first segment, a couple of weeks ago, we had our topic about three things that we did not learn in school, and also how to learn faster.
Yes.
So we have a lot of follow-up Q&A going back to the first segment, and also I think regarding Valentine's, we have a lot of questions about love.
Yes, happy belated Valentine's Day to all. So we will start with a few questions from our listeners. The first question is from Rory. She said, teen pregnancy is one of the top concerns of Cervantes. What do you advise the young generation so that they don't get pregnant at such a young age?
Okay, so teen pregnancy is because maybe some people have a lot of energy, or we call it the fire in the belly. So what we say with the fire in the belly is called like our sexual expression or energy. So if you're not expressing that through creative activities or expressing it through like your talents, then sometimes it can get pent up, and that's why people tend to get pregnant, because they don't have outer expression of their energy.
Yes. Also, with the what we call this inner fire, if it's not used properly, this is like the result of why we have teen pregnancy. So during the time when you have conception, or when you are going to have sex, the energy of the two partners may not be the best energy or cleanest. So that's why it's very important on this subject of teen pregnancy that we should have education for our children and youth about this matter, so that we don't have what they call like bad luck when it comes to also even the timing of birth, right? So when children and youth have education on teen pregnancy, they become more aware of the situation, and as they mature, they will understand that the best option is to not have it early as possible now.
And also, we encourage teenagers to express their sexual energy in a positive way. So sexual energy is not only like having sex or doing those things, it's also expressing your creativity. Like if you see someone who's like very creative, they have a lot of sexual energy, right? If they dance, you can see like in their hips and in their body that they can move it well. So that's also like an expression of your sexual energy. If you like dancing, singing, or you like art, or even if you're into sports, that's all fueled by your sexual energy. So you just have to find a positive way to express it, and you can develop those into talents.
Okay. So another question from Rory is, how can the youth of today find the path to their best life?
Okay, that's a very deep question.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people, young people in school, they're trained to think about their career path, right? So career is not the same as your life path, because career is only your work, your job, but life path is like life as a whole. And remember last week we had our 5K areas of life.
Yes.
We have our career and work, then we have school. Oh wait, school is in career and work, right?
Yes.
And then second is home and family. Then third we have health
and recreation.
health and recreation. Then fourth we have spirituality, and then environmental contribution in social life.
Yes.
So that's life as one whole. If you're thinking about life, you have to think about a bigger picture. So how can the youth of today find the path to their best life?
Well, that's a very vast and broad question to answer from. So like we said, with the 5 key areas of life, what we have now for children is different from the children before the pandemic. So our best path now is not the best to like things of going back to social interaction or going in big crowds. So how can youth find the path of their best life? First, like what we said from our last podcast or our last radio, was about finding a mentor. Find a mentor, find a group that you can learn with, and also serve. Because in your best life, without a service or having a purpose, it's also not a good path. So finding a mentor that's right for you, and finding peers or people that can help check and balance your strengths and weaknesses will help you. Also, trying to profile yourself. A lesson or a teaching that we have from Master Delpet is about the 8 types of leaders, or the 8 types of children and youth. So through that, you can profile if you're somebody like Mother Teresa, like Einstein, or Bill Gates, or even Duterte. So if you profile yourself, it will have a better understanding. You will have a better understanding to your next path, or a path that can help you go to your next steps.
Yeah, like Anna said, if you're an Einstein type, you're not going to become a priest, right?
Yes, no.
You want to study, you want to research, you want to involve stuff that are very scientific, systematic. So you should go for something like discovering new technology or new ways to design communities in better ways that are more efficient. So those kinds of scientific things, you can translate that as service. So not only service as like service to the church or service feeding the poor, service can also be very scientific. If you're serving with a heart, if you're doing research for a good cause, then you're also serving to the humanity in the world. So you can do research, you can invent new things, and you can use that as a life path to serve others, because by helping others, then the good karma returns back to you.
Okay.
And yeah, knowing yourself, you have to profile yourself. You have 8 types. So if you profile yourself, then you can know what's the best path going forward. And of course, getting the mentor to help guide you in that direction, because the mentor can see, like we said the other week, it can see all your strengths, all of your weaknesses, and it can help you guide you in the right direction that will lead you to your best life.
And also with working with a group, if you work in a group with people who are just the same as you, or also like, say you're in a group full of Einsteins, there's no variety of thinking or emotional intelligence. So if you're in a group with many different types, if you put the Mother Teresa, the Einstein, the Duterte, and the Bill Gates together, they can create a more synthesized group, or a group with many talents, many skills, so that it's like a team, not just a group. Our next question: what do you think is in store for our generation after COVID?
Okay, good question, Rory. Thank you very much. For COVID, I think everyone has been challenged how to adjust. Like we call it the new normal, or the new normal that we're going through now. I think we're still adjusting. So we have to be creative in how to adapt to the situations, like staying home, always taking safety protocols, being very precautious. So we have to go in a period of adjustment. I think the younger generation, this is where we have to, break through, because I think in a lot of ways the younger generation has been stuck. So what do you suggest?
Well, I think I can say before the pandemic was like what we can say like a normal time, or what we call the good times, like safe times. There's not as much challenges, there's not as much a crisis. But now, since we have the pandemic, the youth or our generation are faced with more challenges, which forces them to have more creativity and also forces them to have more willpower. Especially at this time, you're either too lazy or not lazy. You can either be at home doing nothing, watching Netflix, doing TikTok, or you can be at home doing a lot of study, a lot of learning or unlearning about things that you haven't learned before, having more talents, making more projects. So in this time, I think the youth we're not suited to the old type of education or learning for many long hours. I think the youth now have to adjust to learning things fast, but also applying it immediately. Without learning immediately or applying immediately, you cannot use that skill set to the full potential.
Yeah. And for our generation after COVID, because of the lockdown, I think there will be a lot of maybe advanced youth coming out with new ideas, because like the suppression of energy, like if people have a very active mind, or they have a lot of ideas and they have been suppressed, like to be by themselves, to like learn on the computer, then it causes them to like come up with new ideas. So for the new generation, I think advanced kids or youth will come out with good ideas. Maybe they have more forward thinking than, with the old system. So they will see problems that need to be solved, and in the time that they have to think, they can come up with new solutions and maybe a better system in the future after COVID. So it will bring out a lot of creative youth and youth that can do maybe better things for the next generation.
Okay, thank you. So after all those questions, we would like to take a quick music break.
Can I call you baby? Can you be my friend? Can you be my lover up until the very end? Let me show you love, I don't pretend. Stick by my side even when the world is giving in. Oh, don't you worry, I'll be there whenever you want me. I need somebody who can love me at my worst. No, I'm not perfect, but I hope you see my worth. This is only you, nobody knew I put you first. And for you, girl, I swear I do the worst. If you stay forever, let me hold your hand. I can feel those places in your heart no one else can. Let me show you love, I don't pretend. I'll be right here, baby, you know it's sink or swim. Oh, don't you worry, I'll be there whenever you want me. I need somebody who can love me at my worst. No, I'm not perfect, but I hope you see my worth. Cause it's only you, nobody knew I put you first. And for you, girl, I swear I do the worst. I need somebody who can love me at my worst. No, I'm not perfect, but I hope you see my worth. Cause it's only you, nobody knew I put you first. And for you, girl, I swear I do the worst.
Welcome back to Educainment on Radyo Kabinnadang 93.5. I am one of your hosts, Anna.
And I'm Leah, and we'll continue our Q&A sent in from our audience members. Also, if you have questions, you can send them in the live chat, or you can text the number 0930-144-1745. All right.
Okay, first we would just like to have a quick shout out to our live audience. We have Sofia Eugenio, we have Victoria Soriano, and Rory Quintos. Okay. So we have another question. This is the question. How can the youth help rebuild the world or even Cervantes in the years ahead? So how can we help the youth rebuild Cervantes or the world?
Okay, so I think rebuilding, you need a lot of intelligence, you need a lot of talents, and you need a lot of resources if you want to, rebuild the world in a better way. So, and I think in a way to do that is you have to bring talents together, bring minds together, ideas. So we have this thing called Talent Share Bank. So instead of being, you're talented, but you're by yourself. If you're good at singing or dancing, but you only dance and sing for yourself, and you don't perform for others, or you don't teach others how to dance, then you're only talented on your own. So, what's the use of that if it's only for yourself? So, we in Talent Share Bank, you can come together as youth, and maybe some will be creative. They have new inventions that they want to make, so we should put each other together and with ideas. We can brainstorm, we can come up with new things, And this, we can come up with brainstorming how to rebuild Cervantes. So a lot of what we call conscious conversations, we call it conscious conversations because it's not just talking about, the K-pop or anything on TikTok or on social media. It's talking about higher ideas, brainstorming how to make Cervantes a better place, or even like the Philippines or the world.
Yes, especially now, since even Cervantes, I see youth are more active online and are starting to get the feel of how the internet works. So instead of just having only a group chat or just texting your besties, you can, what we said, have conscious conversations and share ideas about how to develop more or how to help the community. Especially now, we need the community to be more together than ever because the community needs new leaders and new talents that can help rebuild the community. I think in Cervantes, we have developed a lot in the past few years, and I think ahead we will have even more development, even more different schools for children and youth, and even different types of careers.
Yeah. Since coming here, I have met many very intelligent and very talented youth in Cervantes, but they're talented on their own, but they didn't have like people to share it with. Like if you form a group, all those people come together. Like if they bounce off each other's ideas, off each other's talents, then it can develop into a project. So you have to take your talents and then channel them into projects. If the youth of Cervantes can focus on that, like how to rebuild Cervantes as a better place, like as a project, like small projects here and there, then that's like a good way that that can happen.
Yes. Okay, on to the next question. We have a question all the way from Germany, from Jenny. Shout out to Jenny. Do you have advice for people who fear of being alone or being just enough?
That's a good question, especially for youth, because a lot these days, depression and suicide or anxiety is a lot. So how can you help youth who fear being alone or just enough?
For this question, I think we can say that the youth today, there's a lot of youth that have a lot of confidence, or there's also some youth that have a lack of confidence or a lack of willpower. So for this, it's like having a difference between self-worth or self-love or self-respect for the person. Self-love is not the highest form of love, actually, because you're only gravitating that love towards yourself and you're not expressing the love towards others. So being just enough or being alone shouldn't be a fear if you have more love for others. Because if you love others, then you can bounce back that love to yourself, right? And for fear of being alone, to be alone is different from being lonely. Because you can be one person in a crowd and you can feel lonely, but to be alone is like you're only isolating yourself from others. So if you're only being alone and isolating yourself, then that's different from being lonely or have an indifference from others.
If you have a fear of being just enough, then you have to have inner, what we call self-worth or self-value, which is higher than self-confidence. Because like if you're good looking and you have nice clothes, you have like a nice car or a nice motorcycle, then you can have good self-confidence. But internally you can be very like insecure. Your self-value and self-worth is very low. So your outer projection is like opposite of what you feel inside. So that fear can be a lack of self-worth and self-value. So knowing who you are, identifying yourself who you are, not as what you are. So some people identify themselves as the clothes they wear, like the
iPhone,
the phone that they have, by the motorcycle that they have. That's not who you are. That's like what you are. What you are can be like, is like example, if you're a lawyer, that's what you are. It's not who you are internally, your character and your attitude. So if you're internally aligned with yourself, with your self-value. You know who you are. You're a good person. You help your family. You help your friends. And you're very studious and you always serve others. Even if you're like a very poor person, but you help a lot of people and you feel good about helping people, then your self-value inside is very good, very aligning. So you don't have that fear of being just enough because you know that you are contributing to others and you know inside that who you are is a good person and you're not identifying yourself as your work or your job or the money that you have.
Yeah, it's like what they say, money can't buy you happiness. But maybe it's just temporary happiness.
Yeah.
So you can buy material things, but you cannot buy value of others. Because if you have value within yourself and value within others, that's what we would say a higher form of currency or a higher form of like service to people. So again, like what Leah said, who you are and what you are is different. What you are is like what you project materially or physically, but who you are is your character and what virtues you develop or what you can teach others. So that's our advice for Jenny. And she has another question, Jenny from Germany. How to balance expectations and communication in a relationship?
Really communication. This is we have a workshop for parenting advanced children or how to parent youth, and this also applies in relationships. Is to set expectations. You have to know like certain things that you guys expect from each other. So if like if the other person is like violating one of your rules that you have, but you didn't tell them that you don't like that, then how can they know that they're doing something wrong? Like if you're a mother, this relates to a question from Rebecca. As parents, what can we do to help our children and youth find their best careers or life purpose? Or that's for the next one. That's for the next one.
So back
expectations have to be set. Like if you have children, and you set rules, then they know the line not to cross. So in that way that they can respect the boundaries or they can meet expectations. So that comes the same with relationships. You have to communicate to each other what you expect, or like even like general guidelines, so that if one of you violates it, then you're aware of it and you guys can work it out in that way.
Yeah, especially in a relationship, there should be like what we would say like a boundary of do's and a boundary of don'ts. So if in a relationship there's communication problems, maybe because there's not borders or boundaries of what is acceptable and what is non-negotiable. So especially in communication, we also have like what we said before, like the 8 types of leaders. You can also translate that to 8 types of lovers. So for all of our Valentines out there, you have to profile or see what is the template of your type of lover or partner, and how do they think, feel, or how do they express themselves. The communication that you are doing with your partner might be not the same. If you're a person that's more emotional, you have more feelings or emotions toward the partner. But if you're somebody that's more mental, you have more thoughts. So if you were to say to somebody, oh, this is what I feel, it's more emotional than somebody that says, this is what I think. So if you're not on the same level of thought or emotion, then the communication won't match.
Yeah, profiling is one of the key things. Example, if you're a very like if you're an actress and you guys are fighting, like of course the actress can like exaggerate it. They can be crying, they can like make up their emotions, like like the telenovela. It can always be like crying like that. So if you understand that your partner is like that, then you can easily know what they like and don't like. But if your partner is very like a strong character, but they keep things to themselves, then you have to like also understand that they're not going to always voice out their opinions and their feelings. So those kind of things you have to read, and you have to try to work around understanding each other and understanding each other's type.
Yes. So thank you for all the questions. Now we'll go to another music break.
something about the way she moves. I can't figure it out. It's something about her. Say, ooh, it's something about kind of woman that wants you but don't need you. Hey, I can't figure it out. It's something about her. Cause she walk like the boss, talk like the boss, manicure and nails, just like the pedicure boss. She's fly effortlessly, and she move like a boss, do what a boss do. She got me thinking about getting involved. That's the kind of girl I need. Oh, she got her own thing, that's why I love her. Miss Independent, won't you come and spend a little time? She got her own thing, that's why I love her. Miss Independent, ooh, the way you shine. Miss Independent, yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh, there's something about kind of woman that can do for herself. I look at her and it makes me proud. There's something about her. Something new so sexy about kind of woman that don't even need my help. She says she got it, no doubt. There's something about her. Cause she work like a boss, play like a boss. Car and a crib, she about to pay them both off. And the bills are paid on time. She made for the boss, only a boss. Anything less, she telling them to get lost. That's the girl that's on my mind. She got her own thing, that's why I love her. Miss Independent, won't you come and spend a little time? She got her own thing, that's why I love her. Miss Independent, ooh, the way you shine. Miss Independent, my favorite thing to say, don't worry, I got it. And everything she got, best believe she bought it. She gon' steal my heart, ain't no doubt about it. Girl, you're everything I need. Said you're everything I need. Yeah, 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 yeah. She got her own thing, that's why I love her. Independent, won't you come and spend a little time? She got, that's why I love, that's why I love. Miss Independent, shine. Miss Independent, that's why I love her.
Welcome back to Educainment on Radyo Kabinnadang. I am your host Anna,
And I'm Leah.
and the last song, or the previous song you just heard, was Miss Independent. So that's dedicated to all of our independent women listening and watching in on our Facebook Live and on the radio. We would like to give a quick shout out to all of our listeners here. We have Sophia Eugenio, Alice Grace, Rebecca Soriano, and Moni Platt.
Okay, we have a question from Sophia. If there are a lot of new advanced students after COVID-19, will the teachers be affected and need to change the learning system? And if so, how? So thank you, Sophia. Sophia from Manila, who's watching here. How can we answer this? How will the teachers be affected, and will the system need to be changed?
Okay, very good question. Thank you. So, even right now, I think the students and teachers are very much affected by the current education. Even here in Cervantes, the learning has become more modular learning. So the students are being given the assignment with the textbook, with the materials to read, but no teacher to help guide them.
Yeah.
So how do we do that now, even now with the pandemic?
I think there's like a crisis on like that's happening for educators, because now that everything is more online, there's like no need for a teacher anymore, right? You just go online and then you read it, you learn by yourself. So that's a thing that teachers might have to look at, is the system is changing. Even the AI, it can teach you as good as the teacher, right? Or Google. If you just go and search your question or you search a topic, you can find it on Google. So without the teacher, kids can still learn, but there's a way that teachers have to connect to students. So the new kind of teachers that we need are more mentors or coaches. So not teaching them about only science that you can search on Google, but teaching you like life values or like practical skills that you can't really learn by yourself. So
Yeah. Also, with the education system, I think what is logic doesn't need to be taught necessarily. I think what needs to be taught are more abstract ideas or principles that needs character development or guidance. Because like what we said, anything that's logical can be searched on the internet. And even the AI is not very abstract because it's even made from the logical things from humans. So the AI can't teach you how to like give love in a more intelligent way, or also it can't teach you how to develop a different character or like willpower. So what needs to be taught in the future are more abstract ideas or principles that can be applied practically and with a higher purpose.
yeah, and if we have advanced students or advanced youth, then that means like they will overtake their teachers, because there are a lot of kids that I see now, especially on the internet, that come up with new ideas, and they're even smarter than even their parents or their teachers. So in that way, there has to be a change, like we said, mentorship, coaching. Even if the students are more creative or more intelligent than the teachers can mentor them and guide them, like how to profile themselves, how to use their talents in like their life and career path. So for that, learning has to be done differently, faster, and like I said, apply immediately, and then done with teachers, not as teaching like what's from the textbook, but teaching as mentoring.
Yes, and also the old education is not limited to age or to what you can say like social status, because the new education is more broad and open. Education doesn't have to limit students to be younger than the teacher or come from another country. Even online, where you learn on YouTube videos or learn through online platforms from people who are even younger than you, or people who come from different countries. So education now has to be more open, more dynamic, and I think in the future, a lot of the advanced souls will help lead the way.
Yeah.
Now we have our next question.
Okay, Alice Grace. In the last period, the rate of suicide in teenagers increased exponentially. What would you suggest to these youth who are in difficult situations? Okay, like we said before, suicide and depression has been increasing, even here in the Philippines. So I think this is something with what we said, a lack of self-worth or self-value. So knowing yourself and having a higher purpose to pull you up. If you're by yourself and you're in your own thoughts, your own like depression, your own dark emotions, then the deeper that you will get sucked into it by being by yourself. But having a higher purpose, something that you always aspire to accomplish, something you aspire to achieve, that's going to be your source to pull you up and bring you out of darkness, and it will give you energy, it will give you inspiration. And like again, doing that with peers or with a group will help youth to connect to others, so that they don't feel alone and they don't go deeper into themselves.
Also, solutions that were available are more like talk therapy, or like parents talking it out, what you would say, with their children, like what can they do. But I think talking doesn't necessarily solve the situation, because even depression itself, it's like a disease. So a great solution would be to find a healer, because you cannot medicate emotions or thoughts, right? You can medicate the physical aspect of a person, but medication for the emotions, the mind, and even the soul of a child is something that needs a higher solution than that. Even through energy, thoughts and emotions are energy. So if you cannot remove that, the dark substance, the darkness of a person, then the talking won't work. So a healer is probably one of your best options. Here in the MDP village, we have different healing specialists from the World Institute for Incurable Diseases who specialize especially on depression, anxiety, burnout, and sleep issues. So find a healer or reach out to us at wigglobal.com.
Next question from Rebecca. As parents, what can we do to help our children and youth find their best careers or life purpose? Do we have to choose for them? Okay, if you're used to babying your kids, like you always want them to, you want to choose their career for them. I think in the Philippines it's always like nurse, doctor, or engineer,
or lawyer,
or lawyer. So if you have a kid that's very like creative, they love to sing and dance, you can't expect them to be a lawyer because they don't have enough focus. They can't sit down and like read all the rules, all the laws, memorize all those things. So you have to again profile your children, see what kind of personality they have, and from that you channel them to the best career that they can express their talents and express their intelligence in the best way.
And also for parenting, I think like how we said earlier, there should be like a do's and don'ts for your parents, but for the children, but there should also be a do's and don'ts for the parents, especially with the different types of parents or their style of raising their children. I think it's important to also not overprotect your children or like over baby them. Also, don't give in to what they want. It's not always about what they want, but what is the best need for your children. Even parents themselves, they might not have the best perspective of wants and needs for the children. So in that way, I think it's also good as parents to get advice from people who are already experienced or people who know the type of children that your children are. Like even for us, as when we were younger, or we're still young, my parents, they don't know how to play an instrument or play piano or guitar, right? So, and we want to aspire to be musicians before. So what you do is pull somebody who already has that talent or skill to mentor your children. If you are a parent that's very loving, or like a Mother Teresa, always want to give love to your children, give them candy, give them sweets, there's no way that you can help your child also develop willpower. So get somebody who's maybe like a fitness coach or somebody who can help your children develop more willpower with martial arts, with a lot of discipline.
Yeah, so having a mentor for them and then having their profile is how you choose the best career path. Because parents, even though they have the best intentions, are not always the exact fit, because some kids can be different from the parents. So you have to find the thing that's most aligned with their personality, aligned with their talents that they have. And I think we have one more question before we go for a live performance from Anna. From Moni, is there a curriculum youth can follow so that they can improve their ways? What could they do today already? Thank you, Moni. Yes, indeed, we do have a curriculum. There is a curriculum available.
Our curriculum, we have one of our programs called Maximizing Performance for Children and Youth. Right now, we cannot do that program physically, but I think even online, pretty soon, sometime this year, we will have a MPCY retreat. So in this curriculum, it's set through 7 weeks in which we give tips and tricks and also lessons to children and youth about how to boost their performance, how to have public speaking skills, how to express their talents, how to work in groups. So this is a new curriculum or program that we will do online called Maximizing Performance for Children and Youth. And it's also not even for youth. We have this program will also help to give programs for their parents. So while the children are learning about performance boosters, the parents will also learn about the same subject, but also learn about quality parenting. If you educate the child about new curriculums and new principles without educating the parents, it's also not good because the parents won't understand the children about what they're learning, right? So hopefully soon online we will have this. And we also have an academy called the Champions of Life Academy, which we are developing now or going to launch for children and youth to have an online university where they can have different levels of these types of teachings, and we can have different groups of children in different categories to have this university.
All right, as Anna prepares her stuff, I'd like to also give my input. So, for, curriculum for youth, like Anna said, we have an institute. It's called Be Life Institute for Higher Consciousness, which is based in the U.S. So we have Maximizing Performance for Children and Youth. It gives tips on performance boosters, public speaking, which is important for especially youth today, even budgeting science, how to manage a project, and then also how to develop yourself. So in this curriculum, we have like from inner to outer and how to work with a team, how to use your talents in a way for service. So you can check that out on our Facebook, or you can contact on our Facebook, the BIHC.
Yeah, Be Life Institute for Higher Consciousness. It's also an international curriculum or platform. So we're not limiting it to just children and youth in Cervantes, and we're also not limiting it to age, because for us, the youth can even start early as possible.
Okay. So for Valentine's Day, Anna actually made an original song. Do you have a name for the song?
It's called Dear Future Lover.
Oh, Dear Future Lover, because she's still single.
Yes, single, not mingling yet. And also this song was inspired especially for our Facebook Live audience. They're not able to hear our songs because we get copyrighted. So I also had a challenge for myself to create this song, especially for all of the singles or not single, unmarried, happily unmarried audience. This is called Dear Future Lover. Right now I like the view, surrounded by the earth, waiting for you. You. Soon we'll sleep under this roof, on top of the world, right next to you. You. Floating on paradise, wrapped in the warmth of the night, when you and I come through. Oh, oh, dear future lover, here's what I have to say. When we meet each other, I know the fire will awake, going in slow motion, passing by you. The afternoon at 1:43 melts in your eyes on Lover's Street. Oh, 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 oh. I'm awake when you're asleep, I'm asleep when you're awake. It's lovely how the moon and sun remind us of our fate. We can dance like cloudy blue skies, fall in love just like rain. Blow me away with your charms and make me freeze on a summer day. Floating on paradise, wrapped in the warmth of the night, when you and I come through. Oh, oh, dear future lover, here's what I have to say. When we meet each other, I know the fire will awake, going in slow motion, passing by you. The afternoon at 1:43 melts in your eyes on Lover's Street. Oh, 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 oh,
That's an original by Anna. She actually composed that in 1 hour, so.
Yes, and if you would like to actually hear that song on a studio version, I will upload it on my YouTube channel.
On Spotify? Not yet.
Not Spotify. I'm making a SoundCloud in the progress. But that was dedicated, especially to all of those happily unmarried or singles listening and watching, waiting for their future lover, and hopes to find them on a time that is the best for them, and also finding what you could call your soulmate. Okay, so the time is almost to end this radio program. We would like to thank our listeners for tuning in on Educainment on Radyo Kabinnadang.
Okay, one more question from Rebecca. I have a lot of relatives who are teachers. If their job is not jeopardy, I think jeopardized. they're on jeopardy. Are there any other career options that they can consider as plan B or plan C to continue having a career? Okay, thank you. I think a lot of jobs have been jeopardized, especially after COVID. A lot of teachers lost their jobs. A lot of educators are struggling to deal with the new system. So plan B and plan C, a contingency plan, is important to have. So what can they consider? So as teachers, they're already dedicated to serving children and youth. They're dedicated to teaching them. So one thing that they can switch that to is, like we said before, mentoring. You can become a youth mentor, or you can help youth find their talents. What can they consider? What can you say, Anna? What can you contribute?
For a plan B or plan C, well, right now available options are online teaching, but I think some of the teachers, they like as we said earlier, there should be a new career for them. Especially for teachers, they can even do wisdom banking. So instead of always teaching live or teaching students live, they can even have a wisdom bank where a lot of teachers come together and they can share their different types of lessons or teachings online. Especially now, we cannot do in-person training, so it's harder for the teachers to do interaction with their students. Like right now, what we're doing in the NDP village is that we are teaching our students online, but it doesn't have to be live. We have pre-recorded sessions or lessons that children can take, or just our students, and on their own time they take the time to go through the video, go through the lesson, and we give them time to understand. And after that, we have a live facilitation or live session in which we have Q&A with our students to have a better understanding of the subject. So this method has worked for us very good so far. And the people who are taking our lessons are able to have their own time to do these lessons without being restricted within the week of their schedule.
Yeah, if you're a teacher and your job is jeopardized, you can also convert yourself to becoming a healer, because especially now with COVID, a lot of people are sick, and because other diseases were neglected because of COVID, like heart disease or hypertension or the common illnesses that a lot of people have, you can transform that into becoming a healer. A lot of our students actually now are teachers who lost their jobs. We even have doctors learning how to heal because they saw that the current health system is not really solving a lot of the diseases, especially COVID-19. So we have healing specializations. If you like working with youth, you can continue to work with youth, especially for DABSM and anxiety. And you can also convert healing to many other specializations. It's very simple. You just do the certification, the online learning, and that's a fast way that you can also earn money back. Because I think now is the time that we really need to, people are awakened about health and the difficulties of the traditional system. It's not a solution to everything for the common diseases these days. So becoming a healer, you can do that even within 3 months. You can do the basic level of healing certification, and you can already start earning money. even international clients. You can earn dollars if you want.
Yes.
It's a good career opportunity for teachers.
Mhm. Yeah, especially at this time, if the old education is not working, teachers can become the students and learn what is the new trends or what are the new types of learning that the new students need. Okay, do we have any more questions left in our audience? Okay.
All right. If you have any other questions or comments, if you have compliments or complaints, you can send them in either on the live or on the Radyo Kabinnadang Facebook, or you can text again at 0930-144-1745. So our next segment will come out with a new topic, and also if we have questions, we can include a Q&A.
We would like to thank all of our lovely audiences for tuning in on Educainment in Radyo Kabinnadang 93.5. Our segment Educainment is live every other Monday at 3 to 4 p.m. Philippine Time. Maybe next time we can also invite new guests, new performers to come in and interview them here at the station.
Yeah, and if some of you, or if you have a song, like if you wrote a song and you want to share it also, maybe you can send it in and we can also promote some of the youth who are the talented youth of Cervantes. So don't be shy to send in your ideas, your suggestions. Who knows, maybe we can form eventually a youth group for Cervantes to, share ideas and, like we said, have a talent bank. So that's maybe something that we can develop in the future.
Yes. Okay, so before we go, don't forget to like and follow the Radyo Kabinnadang Facebook page, and also find us on Facebook at NDP Village and also Master Del Pet on Facebook. Thank you again to all of our lovely audiences. It's been a pleasure to interact with you and talk with you here on Educainment. I'm Anna.
And I'm Leah.
And we would like to say again a belated Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you.
Thank you.